All right, you guys ready to look for some pictures? All right, here we go. Let's take a look at our first one. We got 1. We got 2. Mm-hmm. So here's the interesting thing. The lighting's kind of messed up. I really like him, and I like his pose. I think the whole thing is maybe a little too bright, right? I think maybe if you just darken the exposure and then maybe brought up the whites, because you kind of almost need, like...
You're trying to make it look like, give him some dramatics.
Yeah,
him some character.
Something with it. It's just a little too bright, and his shadows on the other side of his face are not very happening. And so I'm hoping that this will maybe help a little bit. Okay,
yeah,
so
I like that.
But I think he's a good subject. All right, so that's good. But the lighting is kind of, what I would call this is almost split lighting. You've lit half his face and it cuts right. Look how it cuts right down his nose and everything. The lighting's not happening.
Well, and I think that's where you're going with the split lighting. More dramatic on the split lighting looks better.
Yeah. In this case, he seems, and this is hard to say because I like an intimate portrait, he seems too close to the camera. Now, this seems like, I'm thinking a wide angle lens was used, and there's some facial distortion, and the lighting is way too bright. Like he's overlit to death. So let's try to pull back some of the lighting first. I'm just pulling back the highlights.
Shot with a 90, which
90?
does not look that way.
It doesn't look like a 90.
Looks distorted.
Yeah, he looks like he's too close, and I think you cropped it a little too close here.
But maybe that is just in the posing and how you have him leaning.
And you got shadows on this side of his face.
I think that's maybe also where you're coming at it, because the one side that is lit better is the side that's not featuring.
Well, but you want the shadow on this side. You want to short light him, but it's just
the way the shadow's falling.
But here's the thing. He has a long face, right? I don't mean that in any kind of negative way. People have round faces. And I think you should have broad lit him, right? So if someone has a round face, we short light them. Yeah. So where the shadow is closest to the camera. If they have a long face, you broad light them. Mm-hmm. You didn't broad light them, you short light them. So it makes their long face look longer. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what's happening here.
That's the lighting. It's lighting. All right, and then the last one, I like what you did on the right side. So the right side is good. And the shadows on his face, maybe they're a little dark, but they're okay. But the left side of his face is a little too bright. But I think this one is the best lighting situation because what you have is a really nice setup. You got soft light as your main light. Then you've got a little bit of shadow, and then it goes to a kicker light. I think this is the best of the three lighting-wise, and he gave you a nice look. So I don't want to discourage you at all because I think you're on the right track. You just got to tweak the lighting a little. I think this last one's pretty good. And he's giving you a very genuine-looking smile. It kind of
would you say, too, that I think with the lighting, the key light is always just overlit a little bit in all these?
Yeah, all of these, the key lights.
Just too,
well, this one's not.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Come back a little. I would maybe you can just probably pull the highlights on this side of his face a little.
Yeah.
And then maybe open up the shadows just a little bit on the other side.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. So and that's very little what I did. But anyway, but you're right there. You're this close. You're right. All right.
Right.
So you're going in the right direction. Pay a little more attention to the lighting. But I think you're on your way.